Welcome back for more science. I'm your host, Boston,
So much
PhD.
science.
Yeah,
I'm
so much.
doing yawns.
That's right. We're doing the science of yawns. I'm your host, Boston, PhD. Joining me as always, Dr. Moon
Hi.
and Cat, who is now deciding to stretch.
My
Um,
assistant Louise.
that's right. We're here to talk about figuring out the placement of Genesis Alpha One. Beforehand, forgot to talk about our next game last week. Our next game is going to be
Mhm.
Loop Hero, which was recently released on Game Pass on Xbox platforms. You can
Correct.
play that on PC, Switch, or Xbox platforms. Uh, One quick piece of recommendation for Loop Hero is by default, it will pause your game every time you finish a loop and finish a battle. I would turn off the finish a battle one once you kind of get the basics of the game taken care of, because otherwise you're kind of unpausing and pausing all of the time. So
Sounds like a plan.
check out Loop Hero next week. But first, Moon, let's talk about our final thoughts here for Genesis Alpha 1 and whether or not you're going to keep playing it.
Probably yes. Because this has been a very good minimal thought needed management game, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Like I don't need to sit there and think about the water supply or the power supply to the parts of town where the industry is.
You're
It's
not
very
pulling
much a
open your
case of
spreadsheets of like, oh, if I do this water efficiency, what are my filter levels going to be?
yeah, exactly. It's very minimalist in that side of things, which is works great because it will actually also specifically tell you when something goes wrong. It's not going to
Yep.
let it the city burn down and then tell you. It's like, oh no, there's something definitely wrong here.
Yeah.
Um,
Sorry, both of us are a little coffee today.
yes, we're very coffee.
Yeah.
It's the combat is good but not horrible. How did you find the left trigger pull thing? Advice, by the way.
Oh, it's good. I think that resolved kind of my last issue with the game is this is the thing that's going to resolve your issues.
Yes. So like the combat is fine, but not super challenging. I mean,
Yep.
generally speaking, if it's challenging, you're just gonna get one hitted.
Yeah. You're just
And
not
that's
supposed to
not.
be there.
Yes, exactly. So that is the majority of the challenge. Well, it's just a good little like set your stuff in motion. No, I wasn't trying to stroke you. I was trying to gesture with my hands. It's a very good like set stuff in motion and then just like at this point, like I'm at the point where I'm at the bridge, I'm helping people scan things in, and I'm just running from room to room. Like, okay, you scan this, you research this. I'm gonna go down and get this site while my other gubbins go and get the rest of the stuff for me, and then we're all gonna come back up together, and then I'm gonna change what you're looking at. I don't know. Despite how tense it can be at times, and it can be very tense. Like, let's
Yeah.
not get things mistaken. It can be super tense at times. It is actually a very chilled out kind of game once you get into it. It
And
can
once
still
the
be
machine
horrific.
starts running smoothly.
Yeah, and it can definitely be one of those things where it's a little bit tense when you turn around a corner and there's just a wall of green in the way, and then the green man comes out of it and starts shooting
Yep.
at you. It's like, okay, now I'm infested with literal green men. So, okay,
Right.
I guess. I guess that's a thing we do now. Um, I like this game a lot. Like once that
Yeah.
second week for me and probably third week for you clicked,
Yep.
and suddenly it was just like, oh, okay,
It all came
now
together.
we get it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um, I'm really glad that I talked about this a couple weeks ago. I think I'm glad that we stuck with it, and I'm glad that it clicked because um, I think if I had only played this for maybe a week or two, I'd be like, man, I don't like this game at all. Like, there's too much going on. Like, I don't get any of it's infested all the time. Um, but I really recommend sticking with it until it does click. Again, Moon's tip about separating all your space stuff away is like the biggest game changer for this game. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's a huge difference. And I like this game a lot. I think it's really great, and I think um, these are the types of games that I like when we do game club. We do this sort of game where it's like, I have never heard of this game before, and man, this game is incredible. Made by probably 3 people. It's the first game they've made, and it's really great.
I do like the fact that they use the studio name as the upgrade material.
Yes.
By the way,
Yep,
which
I like that.
is a nice
Radiation
little
Blue,
touch.
I think it is.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Yeah, Genesis Alpha 1 is really cool. I like it a whole lot, and I hope that more people check it out. I hope that more people play it. It is on sale nearly constantly for like $5 or less, and that's a steal. Just stick with it. If you haven't played it along with us, you really should play it, and you really should stick with it.
Yeah, like it's shocking how good this is for what they did.
Yep.
Also, Team 17, like stretching their publishing arm again.
Mm-hmm.
Who knew when we were playing Worms on the PlayStation 1
Yep.
that like the team behind that would become one of the biggest indie publishers ever?
Yeah, they've been killing it. They're slowly but surely and kind of quietly really just killing it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's figure out where this game is going to sit in our giant list of the best roguelikes of all time. Before we started the show, we decided we'll start at number 20. So is Genesis Alpha 1 better than BPM bullets per minute?
I think, unfortunately, yes. I like BPM a lot. I love the music. I love a lot about it. It is a little one note
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
of gameplay, though.
Mm-hmm.
Which is hilarious, if you ask me.
Right.
Sorry, I couldn't help but make the joke. And also, BPM is very difficult when you get to the later levels. Like when you get later on in the game, that game gets super difficult. Yeah, for me, it goes above it.
I agree. I think the Genesis Alpha 1's variety helps it a ton. Even though the shooting, I don't think, is nearly as snappy as BPM. I think the rest of the entire package more than makes up for it.
Mm-hmm.
Is Genesis Alpha 1 better than Nuclear Throne?
Yes, because it's playable, aka it's not impossibly difficult. I like Nuclear Throne, but Nuclear Throne is a roguelike that more designed. We need a different word for it.
It's a kick your teeth in roguelike?
Yeah, hardcore roguelike, or roguelike with 0 impositions on stomping your face.
It's a skill roguelike. Like, it's one of those ones where you just gotta get better at it. I don't have the time.
Roguelike.
Nuclear Throne. Yes, I would agree also with that. Is Genesis Alpha 1 better than Risk of Rain 2?
It didn't lie.
It's a good first start. Nothing one-shotted me.
Well, something did one-shot me in Genesis Alpha 1, but we won't get into that.
Yeah.
That was the big silver man with the minigun.
Yeah, that's true.
I
I feel like the difficulty ramp in Genesis Alpha 1 is a lot more smooth. I mean, Risk of Rain 2 is like, yeah, this is hard. Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm going to go to the final level. Whoops. I'm dead.
Yeah, honestly, I think if it wasn't for that last level in Risk of Rain 2, it might stop here, but that last level in Risk of Rain
it's just mean.
Is terrible.
Yeah, just mean, man. Is Genesis Alpha 1 better than Cult of the Lamb? Ooh, what a matchup.
Yeah, because I feel like Cult of the Lamb is it's a softer touch, we'll say.
Mm-hmm. A gentler cult.
Yes, shockingly enough, being involved in a cult is less painful than, I don't know, going to space.
Right.
I think Genesis is probably better than Cult of the Lamb. And Cult of the Lamb is a quality game, but I think they both have the same thing, which is they are both middle to high on many aspects of the gameplay. Like, they're both trying to do a lot of things. I just think I prefer building a spaceship to building a farm. Well,
building
a
a cult
town. Yes.
I think I can get behind you on that one. I think I agree. Plus, both of them have a great gameplay loop, or you're going to go do something else that's combat focused, then you're going to come back and not do combat, and then you're going to go back and do combat, and you kind of have that pretty satisfying loop. Is Genesis Alpha 1 better than Dicey Dungeons? Couldn't be more different games.
Yeah, they really couldn't be. But they both also take things and do in stuff in very interesting ways.
Mm-hmm. This one's tough. I like Dicey a lot, but my knee-jerk reaction is that I like Genesis Alpha 1 a little bit better.
Yes, same here, to be completely honest.
But I'm trying to quantify why, and I'm not sure that I can. Space is cool. Is that just like the TLDR for Genesis Alpha 1?
Yeah, I think it's. I think honestly, it could be the 3D first-person nature of Genesis Alpha 1, because there's a lot going on in Genesis Alpha 1. You got the space landings, the scannings, the invasions, the
Tower defense.
The tower defense. I don't even know if you got into invading other people's ships yet, let alone
I
exploring
tried to,
derelicts.
the ships kept disappearing. I ran away scared. Yeah.
Like there's a lot in there, whereas I think the strength of Dicey is probably in the fact that every single person has its own gameplay loop.
Yeah.
Like its own core mechanics.
I would say it's above.
Personally, it goes above it. This is very much we're
Yeah.
at the point where it's like the tastemakers have to decide at this point.
Right. Is Genesis Alpha 1 better than Has Been Heroes? Another surprise sleeper hit.
My instinct is yes, but that's also possibly because Has Been Heroes was always a very. It is a game where you have to think and focus on that combat.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe it's not the game's fault. Maybe it was me not being in a good headspace at the time. But I really, really struggled with that combat, whereas I felt like I didn't struggle with this. Now, yes, the combat here is not anywhere near as involved as that game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, for me it goes above it just because it's me, and I clicked more with Genesis than I did with the other one.
Yeah. I think it goes above for me too, because I think it clicks with me more naturally, and I like all of the kind of depth of combat and mechanics and everything in Genesis Alpha 1. You know, it casts a wider net, where it Has Been Heroes focuses on its one mechanic and uses that to its utmost.
Mm-hmm.
Is Genesis Alpha 1 better than Enter the Gungeon?
This is where the fight begins, right?
Yeah, let's fight. No, I don't.
No, it doesn't go above Enter the Gungeon.
Oh, okay. I thought you were just gonna be like, yeah, of course.
No, Enter the Gungeon is now, and rightly so, widely regarded as a definitive roguelike.
Yeah, it's a classic of the genre.
Yeah, it is defined that way for a reason.
Right.
There's not much above it here that could not be considered the same, or that executes things a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing that Enter the Gungeon does better than Genesis Alpha 1 is the replayability. Like,
Yeah.
I get the feeling like once I finish with 2 or 3 runs on Genesis, I'll be achievement hunting, and that's it. I won't be going back to it because the runs are like 6 hours long. Like, I won't be going back to it.
Which is good and bad, but
yes.
Yeah.
Whereas Enter the Gungeon, I've still got another 76,000 hours of puns to uncover in that game.
2 million more runs to go.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. This one's really tough because, like, I really love Enter the Gungeon. It's like one of my favorite games of all time.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you hit the nail on the head there. That I think Genesis Alpha 1, I love that it has like 6 to 8 hour runs. Like, we really don't get a lot of games that do that, and they're entertaining the entire time. Sometimes you get roguelikes where it's just like, "Oh, this run is taking forever, and I don't think I'm gonna succeed because I made a mistake 4 hours ago, and I don't. But I'm into it now, so let's just keep. Whoops, I lost. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I think you're right that I think Genesis, even though all of its corporations are different, and it has kind of like the Fremen and the invaders and all that. I don't think you're going to get a fundamentally different run out of that game unless you try to restrict yourself, or it's like only this time I'm going to have mantis people or things like that. Um,
Yeah.
and I think that's to its benefit, but also to its detriment. But um, I agree with you. I think it stops here at number 15, which is still really high for a game we
Uh-huh.
didn't
For a
hear
game
anything
that neither
about.
of us had heard of.
Yeah, 4 weeks ago. Had no idea what this game is, and this is our 52nd game or 53rd game overall, but 52nd game here in the list. Rogue is in the Hall of Fame, and I think being up in 15, that's really great. This is a great game. Again, if you haven't played Genesis Alpha 1, you really should. It's really cool. Just stick with it.
Yep.
Yeah. Reminder that next episode we're going to start with Loop Hero. We're going to do a month of that stuff. And I think that's it. We'll see you all next run. Bye.
But you mean next time we do science? Next
Yeah,
one is a different group of people.
that's right. Yeah, we're going to turn it over to those running guys. Yeah. All right, bye.